You are now at 17 Ogrodowa Street, currently the location of the Vienna house Andel's hotel. Back in the day, this was the business empire of Izrael Poznański. This building of a former textile factory of the Poznański Industries appeared in Andrzej Wajda's The Promised Land, nominated for Best Foreign Language Film Oscar. It's impossible to forget the scene in the film in which one Count Trawiński, played by Andrzej Łapicki, talks to a man named Halpern, played by Włodzimierz Boruński. The scene is fondly remembered by Łódź residents and cinema-goers alike. In the scene, Halpern shares his exciting vision of capitalist growth that awaits his beloved city of Łódź. After the conversation, the depressed Trawiński, who suffered a streak of bad financial luck, shoots himself in the head. At the same place, a little bit earlier, the character of von Horn, one of Buchholz's trainees, talks to a young widow whose husband was killed in the factory. The man advises the woman to sue the factory for compensation. After Buchholz's death, his servant August walks towards the wall, pushing the empty wheelchair that used to carry the factory's owner. The monumental facade of Vienna house Andel's hotel represents industrial Łódź at its most majestic. It is far from surprising that Andrzej Wajda decided to use the facade in his monumental film. However, it is not only the building's facade that proved inspiring. Back in mid-1970s, when The Promised Land was being shot, there was still a working factory inside these walls. According to one of the often cited anecdotes, American production designers were awed by the factory scenes in the movie. They asked Andrzej Wajda reverently how was it possible for him to recreate the textile factory equipment that was there on the screen. Andrzej Wajda smiled at such questions and answered truthfully that those spaces were still in active use in Poland at the time of shooting. Thanks to the state-owned status of Polish film industry at the time, all it took were several phone calls to stop the factory in its tracks and close it down for the purpose of shooting. Even the textile factory workers were put in costumes and served as period extras in the film. The textile machines, preserved and functioning, even though extremely loud, provided unforgettable background for Witold Sobociński's deep focus framing, which turns the space into monumental cavern. Tricks like these were impossible to repeat in the US of the 1970s. Andrzej Wajda used the actual industrial Łódź as the background of his film, often preserving images of historical labor on old machines, which will most likely never be repeated for the sake of any film production in the future.